Hold the fuck up. Okay, that solves that. What do you mean? Okay, yeah, no, it's okay, good. Well, yeah, I know about snakes. Earthworms aren't a scale that I can use as a reference point. No. Nah. Nah. Hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm not gonna be able to find anything there. Selection not created. Alright, gotta fill it in and then lock it. Ah. Hmm. Games never end, so it continues. Hmm. Hmm. I hold up. Yeah, it looks like Crazy Bitch when the colors are inverted. Am Crazy Bitch, so that's not an issue. Hmm. Hmm. Same shit, different day. I should probably go to bed right now. Live. Wanna live. There we go. Found it. Alright. What are you so afraid of? Words on the tip of your tongue. What are you holding it back for? What's hiding in your lungs? Why aren't you moving forward? No right without the wrong. You were the only one holding yourself back all along. Oh. Medicine is a drug is medicine. Not always, but sometimes. F for all. I promise that nothing ever really breaks beyond repair. And I don't know why you run, don't know why you run away. And I really wanna make you stay. 'Cause we're running out of nights and days. Oh, don't you wanna let go of the anger? I talk too loud, burn too bright, so tone it down. No way I can make this work. Give up now so I don't get hurt. I bend until I break the mold. Almost doing as you told. Never one too fast to climb too high. But what you'll reach if you never try. Anything's worth it. But don't you want to live a little longer? Don't you want to let go of the anger? Yeah, no, if I were to... It would be a highly vulnerable spot to some degree. If I were to do it like this, but it would also be able to then explain the change in length and size. So what, sectioned cells? Possibly. Actually, no, that would actually be really cool. Sectioned cells with the bone structure surrounding the between point of each cell. That would work, but that wouldn't necessarily protect the cell. You'd want it to where the gaps are the weak point. Then there would be muscles intertwining between the blood cavities, and the muscles, which would then be covered by skin. But don't you want to live a little longer? Oh. And if I were to divide that then further, yeah, using pneumatic energy, pressure. Don't know why you... Yeah, I misspelled that. Okay. Yeah, piston pump. Okay, now to look up something that I know YouTube isn't gonna like. Alright. Can't believe I'm fucking referencing this out of all things. Alright. But instead of using it for that purpose, it would instead be used as a flexible core that not only aids the muscles in positioning and movement, but also in structural stability. Alright, so there's that. Wrong tab. I know this information isn't like solid verification because it's just a quick search, but it's enough. Oh wow, I actually laid it over properly. Nice. Not a muscle, Verilizing. Hmm. That's not the kind of cross-section I want. I was hoping for something that's doing cross-section along the length, not the width. Open image in new tab. You could probably layer this together. Don't really want to see that image. That is not the kind of... length. Anatomy is a bitch. Showing the internal cavity. Okay, fine. Fur up the length, and then at the tip it would be feather. Let's see. Well, yeah, there's that, but no. Okay, so it'd probably be around here with those. But then the plating... Nah. Okay, but then how am I going to handle the plating clipping into the other part of the tail? That doesn't make sense. So would I leave a vulnerability in there? Wherein, like, there is when it is in the split mode that is shown here. You burn too bright, so tone it down. No way I can make it work. Give up now so I don't get hurt. I bend until I break the mold. Almost doing as I'm told. Never run too fast or climb too high. But what will we reach if we never try? I think it's worth it. An exoskeleton around it, then a layer of muscles. So if I were to use the fucking element sheet as a reference point color-wise... Okay, no, not that, because that's got stained background, tinted background. There we go, tinted. Word I was wanting to use. Convenience is definitely closer to spoil, plasma, mutation, decay than it is hope. Anyways, no, not what I wanted. Damn you. Oh, that was save. You know what? Fucking fine. Actually, no. I could have it be in rings around, then a layer of muscle, then another layer of bone. Oh, that would be for something really cool. But then how would you... But then how would it expand and contract then? When blood flows in? Alright, well first off, we definitely know the outer ones are going to be positioned around here. Huh. That would be a weird association, but also an interesting one. To have metal and eldritch overlap. But that actually just fits in under Earth, so there's no point in that. Kind of, yes, but at the same time, no. Does anyone who knows, like, anatomy throughout animals and otherwise think this would work, or no? It's only called that because of where it's positioned. Hmm. Could she transform it for that other purpose as well? Probably, but I don't think she'd really want to. Just doesn't sound satisfying. Mm-mm. Mm. Banana. Banano. Okay, but then what about these other sections? thinner pieces of bone between? No, that wouldn't work, because then that has a chance of puncturing the, or putting more unnecessary pressure on. Yeah, no, that would then put more pressure on the blood part of it. So it needs to be some combination of things. What are you giving in for? No reason but despair. I promise that nothing ever really breaks beyond repair. 'Cause I don't know why you run, don't know why you run away. I'm not gonna make you stay. So it'd probably be best to have it like this. No way I can make it work. Give up now so I don't get hurt. I bend until I break the mold. Almost doing as I'm told. Never run too fast or climb too high. But what will I reach if I never try? I'm certain it's worth it. Oh, and if I have them positioned like this, then it's not going to put as much pressure onto the blood cavities, which will then allow it to then be transferred through the muscle and handled better. Don't you want to live a little longer? Oh. Yeah, muscle can be orange. Then the blood veins would be. What would be skin then on the element thing? Words on the tip of your tongue. What are you holding back for? What's hiding in your lungs? Why aren't you moving forward? No right without the wrong. And you're only one holding yourself back all along. And then if I were to have it cut through there, so that way there's at least some wiggle room and shift, like for a knee or something. Okay, but then that then introduces the possibility of actual fucking arthritis. Yeah, and you can't have everything perfect. Ah, fine. What are you giving in for? No reeling but despair. Promise that nothing ever really breaks beyond repair. But I really wanna make you stay. That would be interesting to try and draw, though. Well, it would be hidden underneath the fur, so you wouldn't be able to see that detail unless she hides all the fur and feathers covering her tail via, turning it spectral. You know what? Fair counterpoint. And if we have it like this, then why not just have these? In fact, I could probably rearrange it so that way they're more like that. And that would also increase the ability for flexibility. Okay, but then you would need blood veins that kind of go between here. Fair. In order to then get blood flow all the way over to, like, the muscles. Okay, so there would be muscles around these each. Yeah, definitely. That is a whole lot of muscle. Most definitely, but have you ever looked at how much muscle the human body covers itself in for substance? You know what? Fair counterpoint. Not yellow, because that's bone. No right without the wrong. You're the only one holding yourself back all along. And don't you wanna live a little longer? Oh. Intersection points, yeah. What's burden that you bear? What are you hanging on to? This thing that you don't share. What are you giving in for? No feeling but despair. I promise that nothing ever really breaks beyond repair. 'Cause I don't know why you run, don't know why you run away. I really wanna make you stay. Care too much, I talk too loud, I burn too bright, so tone it down. No way I can make it work. Give up now so I don't get hurt. I bend until I break the mold. almost doing as you're told. Never run too fast or climb too high. What would reach if I never try? But then that would mean having these more separated. Yeah, but that would actually be useful. What do you mean it would be useful? Well, you gotta think about how we'd be using it. So what, there'd be another layer of muscle between the two? Kind of, yeah. Hmm. Hmm. Now, if you don't know the color code, then this is just gonna look weird. Because we're not doing like one-to-one anatomy. We're just sketching out ideas right now. Are you moving back for? No writing in your lungs. Why aren't you moving forward? No right without the wrong. You were the only one holding yourself back all along. Okay, but then how do we ensure that it's actually going to have strength if it's... Well, the muscles would have to be flexed consistently, which means we wouldn't have the option of not using our tail. Great. Hey, you're the one who wanted a tail that can split into two hands. Mm. No reeling but despair. Promise that nothing ever really breaks beyond repair. 'Cause I don't know why you run, don't know why you run away. I can't make you stay. Mm, no. No, there would be a minimum size and a maximum size. Okay, then how are we going to protect these sections? Because you got these sections. Well, we could use the same strategy as is. Yeah, but that's just a whole lot of muscle. That's not necessarily going to work. Hmm. I mean, technically, we could have the skeletal bones going all the way around, like the rest of them are. And it's just in these sections that they're more smushed together. Possibly, but then that would mean that the muscles there wouldn't be used nearly as much. Maybe not, but that would also mean that we wouldn't have to keep both sides of the tail at the same pressure. We could have one that's at a lower pressure on one side when we want to swing it, to this direction, and then have it alternate to the other side when we want to swing it the other way. And then with the layer of skin and fur covering everything, you wouldn't be able to tell that it can actually split into two. At least not unless you look real close. Especially if we make at least one of these intangible, partially intangible along the inside where the two halves of the tails meet, and then they can overlap with each other. Okay, that's great, but what happens when we need to, like, go ghost, to put it shortly? That's actually a good counterpoint. Shit, you've got a good point there. Yeah. Why aren't you moving forward? No right without a wrong. Fine. I'll look at it in greater scale, just so that way I can get a fucking screenshot of that section. Ugh. What are you giving in for? No feeling but despair. Promise that nothing ever really breaks beyond repair. Cause we're running our nights and days. But don't you wanna live a little longer? Oh. Okay, so I'm gonna wanna move that below in some regards, just so that way it's next to its context. Bend until I break the mold, almost doing as I told, never run too fast or climb too high, so I've gotta try. So, well, there would have to be an in-between then. Oh, and I hadn't considered the blood vessels along that outer edge either. So that's interesting. If someone looks back on this and they're like, is that a... It's like, no, but you could easily mistake what I'm trying to do here for just making it one. If you want to be a fucking gremlin, I guess you can still. I'd suggest against it, though. Okay, but it definitely wouldn't be the exact same, because, well, let's be real, tail needs to be flexible. That ain't flexible in the same way. Yeah, fair enough. Words on the tip of your tongue. What are you holding you back for? What's hiding in your lungs? What are you moving forward? No right without the wrong. You were the only one holding yourself back all along. That would be neat, but that's very complicated. Mm. Well, we can also do cross-section of a cat tail. And that would be far easier to look at. Uh, body to tail length ratios of cats. Then it gets into the details. No way you can make it work. Give up now so don't get hurt. Bend until I break the mold. Almost doing as I'm told. Never run too fast, run too high. What will you reach if you never try? There's that, whatever it is. That's give me some damn images. Well, that's rats, not a cat. And that's too much information about the whole body. I'm looking specifically at the tail. Oh. Uh, neat. Oh, jeez. And that works. Cause I don't know why you run, don't know why you run away. No, I'm the one that ran. Copy image. Okay, I don't need to tone it down to 60, but it works well enough. Preserves more information, doesn't look quite as sharp. I'm working on the length of the tail first, because the end of the tail is really the most complex part, given that it can, you know, be used as hands. Oh. Now that's gonna need, like, some instinctive coordination. However, if the section of the tail active is relative to each other, then ultimately you won't have to worry too much. Don't I want to live a little? Peering forwards. Oh, that's what I got wrong about it. Okay, hold up. Taking a moment to just... There we go. Because the whole point with these 3 dots is to make it so that way kind of, yeah, but not quite. What are you hanging on to? This planet you don't share. Promise that nothing ever really breaks beyond repair. Okay, but then how would that look in terms of like a side view? When the ears are like pulled back? Well, if it's a side view, then Possibly. Yes, but also no. Because then the angle is wrong. Let's get that, and that, and that. Alright, so. Because these are not in the same position as each other. That point would want to be like somewhere between the two. Maybe? Trying to figure out the anatomy of the ears is also a pain. Actually, no, I don't need to get that specific section. This has to be enough context to make sense of things. Because there's that. Ear anatomy references. Mm. Mm. That layer combined with that one. Care too much, you talk too loud. Burn too bright, so tone it down. No way you can make it work. Give up now so you don't get hurt. Bend until I break the mold. Almost doing as I'm told. Never run too fast or climb too high. What will I reach if I never try? It's on the tip of your tongue. That's mostly muscle and cartilage. Hmm. Skin, maybe? Oh, whatever. I'm pretty sure someone out there is going to go, what? Why in the fuck? Plasma definitely interacts with the digestive system. So does vein. Actually, no. Alright, hold up. Well, lungs would be associated with air. Not quite. Negative 90. this burden that you bear. What are you hanging on to? What's something that you don't share? What are you giving in for? No feeling but despair. There is nothing ever really breaks beyond repair. I don't know why you've gone, don't know why you've run away. Honestly, chemistry would be closer to drug than it would be energy. With passion being closer to heart. But I'm not about to worry too much. Because I don't feel like trying to separate this. Whatever. No way I can make it work. Give up now so I don't get hurt. Bend until I break the mold. Almost doing as I'm told. Never run too fast or climb too high. What will I reach if I never try? I think it's worth it. Don't you wanna live a little? Don't you wanna live? Don't you wanna live a little? Uh, what does this look like in browser? Hmm. Afraid of words on the tip of your tongue. Why aren't you moving forward? No right without the wrong. You were the only one holding yourself back all along. I mean, in one way you could say heart and pressure have correlation, but the heart is more of a muscle than it is a source of pressure. Muscle moving things rather than a pressure exerting upon something, trying to break it down. Air pressure, water pressure. Promise that nothing ever really breaks beyond repair. Cause I'm running out of time, running out of nights and days. Oh. And yet void is also presence. by traditional reference points. At least that's what it was categorized into. Yeah, we can be wrong. I think it's worth it to try and live. Hollywood really doesn't get it because people have asked for power fantasy after power fantasy. And then there's the aura farming, but anyways, I'll see you all later. Bye!